Hello, welcome to the 3 Points of Articulation podcast. I'm your host, the big taster, Jamie Wills. I have a bit of sunburn today, hence why I'm wearing a referee shirt, just to finish off the joke that you find on the back of penguins. And I'm joined with my normal host, Johnny Flashback.
Nice to see you.
Red. And Adam, the wrestling man.
Howdy. I assumed you were dressed in a referee outfit because you're expecting some kind of fireworks in our discussion today.
No.
Kind of
No, I looked through my drawer of wrestling shirts and I thought everything I had just expels the red face, just makes it look redder. And this is the only thing I could find that was either A, a comical joke, or B, sort of toned down the redness. So you can't really see it that well, you two, so I'm sort of hoping that the shirt choice has worked. But we're discussing future endeavours today. So we're discussing all the recent releases and what that means for the releases and the company and where we think it's going. So we'll crack on with that in a second. But first of all, let's have some news, shall we, boys? News. Let's discuss some news. So AEW has been the big news one there. So they had some reveals for the Double or Nothing, sort of like a Comic-Con wrestling festival they had going on there, where they just revealed everything all in one foul swoop. First of all, it seems to me, I don't know about you guys, but they put a lot more effort into the advertising and into the promoting of it than they do to the actual figures, but that's just my opinion. Should we start off with Miro then, from the AEW's new line, Unmatched? So Miro is
let's reel off that entire series if you've got them.
Yep,
Who's with Miro?
So we've got Miro, we've got Britt Baker, the new AEW Women's Champion, spoilers, Darby Allin with a new skateboard, Kenny Omega, Dustin Rhodes, and we've got the LJN, Cody, is the 6 on there. So any highlights for you boys on the series? Adam, let's come to you first.
Well, if we're going to start with Miro, like you said, he's wearing his best man gear. That's right, isn't it?
It is indeed camouflage best man.
There's best man on it, doesn't it? Which is a gimmick which is over, is it? Or is it continuing, even though he's not best man anymore?
Gone.
So it's gone. So, yeah, I mean, they could have anticipated that. They knew that it was probably going to come up. I mean, I know Kip Sabian's had an injury, has he? But they knew it was kind of coming. So they could have just left the words best man off and just let it kind of flow into the next character. But, you know, it looks decent from first time, but we've had a million Rusevs in WWE. It's probably closest to the Alexander Rusev from the NXT line, face-wise, hair-wise, stuff like that. But it looks all right.
I mean, you're right about the best man. The gimmick, it just didn't work. Like the first few months of Rusev in AEW was just the pits. Why? I mean, why did he come in as this bottom guy with this bottom guy? You know, poor performance by whoever's writing the show. But the figure looks pretty decent, so good representation of Miro. But as you said, we've had plenty of Rusevs already. It's not much different. It's not much better. We can move on to the next guy.
It's the worst figure for the best man. I'm not a fan of the figure, truth be told. I don't think the face does him justice. I'm not saying he's a handsome man, but had a handsome Rusev, didn't he? But yeah, I figure-wise, I don't think it looks fantastic for a first series to me, in my opinion. Yeah. Cody, let's go with Cody next, the LJN style Cody. Which looking at it, it looks like Jazzwares have set up a deal with LJN because there's the LJN logos left, right, and centre on the packaging and so on for it. So very interesting to see. Johnny, I think you've probably got the most LJN type ones that we've had from the Classic Superstar series. What's your view on it?
Yeah, you got me wrong about having the most views in LJN. I don't have any LJN figures. I don't think I've ever held an LJN figure in my hands.
Have you seen the Classic Superstars ones on your wall there?
Yeah, other than a Bendy or an actual Jack's LJN sort of representative. I've got no sort of pull towards the LGN line. So I'm unsure about why we're doing this with Cody or why we're doing this with Jazwares. I think it would have been better to go down the Hasbro route like we've seen with many other companies.
I think it looks a bit cartoony for me. I know the classics range, the LJN representations of them look very cartoony as well. But when I look back to the actual LJNs of the 1980s, obviously with the things not being as good technologically wise, it looks like they've actually tried to make a representation of the people and not make it really cartoony. You look at the British Bulldogs one, they're not cartoony at all. Whereas these WWE lines and the AEW seem to be going down the real cartoon route, which I don't like, and I definitely won't be purchasing it. And it looks a bit like a hornswoggle type body, where it's got a very similar size of legs to chest and body. I don't know if that's the same as LJN were or not, but it's weird.
Yeah, Adam, you're a bit older than I am. So what's your experience with LGN? Have you got anything? Nothing.
Nothing at all, no. Hasbro were my first line.
So, I mean, I'd say Padal was obviously a big fan of LGM figures. Obviously, he did the Jax ones, didn't he? So he's clearly a big fan of them. So he clearly thinks there's some sort of market there to produce these. But I guess it makes sense to have one per series like this rather than releasing a full line, just to test the waters, essentially. See how it sells.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Obviously, you've got nutters like me that they've got these LGN classic superstars in the Jax line that I've bought just to complete the line, series 1 to 28. I've done it over there. You can't see it. Sorry.
Sorry. As long as you've seen an LJM before, style figure. I don't think I've ever held one either, so I'm not sure what they're like scale-wise. But I watched the Toys That Made Us documentary on them, and they look quite good, but a bit rich for my blood. Next up, we finally have a figure of Britt Baker, DMD. She was having that big meltdown on social media about not having a figure and Cody having 20-odd. So good to get her to have a figure. She's in her black butterfly moth type gear. I'll insert a picture. I normally do. Adam, let's come to you first on this one. What's your view on Britt Baker on this one?
It looks all right. The face doesn't look 100% accurate. There is definitely improvements. I mean, it might come out better, it might come out worse, but from the images that we've got, it doesn't look 100%. It's kind of your typical woman figure. If you imagine a Sasha Banks from WWE, where you just get a kind of plainish woman figure with a jacket, that's what it looks like. Could have been a lot better with the talk show that she hosted. They could have had a lot of different accessories and things to go with it. They chose not to.
Yeah, I can't argue that. My notes were she looked a bit mental, but that's just my thoughts on that one. But absolutely, I'm so pleased she's got a figure. We mentioned this in the last podcast that she is, the fundamental women's wrestling in AEW. So absolutely should be getting this figure.
Yep,
should be
and
better.
one of the most improved.
Face-wise, looks a bit like Peyton Royce in the face, but
not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. Maybe they can reuse the head when she pops up as Cassie Lee or something in a few weeks. And we also had Darby Allin with a tree on the side of his body and a new skateboard, which is nice for him. This is the face of TNT on his skateboard, which I think they're moving to TBS, is it? So that's already dated as well. And a Kenny Omega with some lovely new painted trousers. So they're two repaints of previous figures for the Unmatched line. Dustin is the third repaint of the series with another head. He's in blue this time. That looks quite good in the whole. You can't really go much wrong with Dustin's paints, can you? Because it always looks toyetic, even though the last one didn't sell very well. That is my gibbery jabbery on Unmatched Series 1. Johnny, you look suspicious.
I'm just wondering where you got information on where Dustin didn't sell well. I wasn't able to see him in stores. I've heard US had a lot of problems getting both Series 1 and 2, so unsure about that. Questionable theory about him not selling well.
it might be a case of he was the only one left on stock on Smiths for 3 months. So maybe they just ordered loads more in, but he was quite readily available, I think.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's a bit shorter than last time. He was really, really tall compared to the others.
Yeah, I do think Dustin and Darby are definitely better models. They're better on the eye, definitely. I'm not sure about Kenny. Looks a bit plain.
Aye. So yeah, Unmatched Series 2. So Sting is in there. Sting is the sort of Legends wing, looking at the way that they're going with that. MJF, Tay Conti, Santana, Ortiz, and Wardlow. So let's start with the icon Sting. Johnny, let's go to you on this one.
Yes, I've been researching this one because I was surprised to see there was a Luminaries addition to this series. I'm thinking, wow, what does Luminaries mean? I've never really come across this word before in my life. I did look it up. I haven't got the the definition in front of me, but it's like someone that influences or inspires, a particular craft, which absolutely Sting does involve in. The only thing is that they've got Sting in current day rather than Sting as in, yesteryear. So I was thinking this is probably their version of the Legends line. I just, how are they going to do this? They're going to do a Legends line, but they're also calling it Luminaries. So they're going to include current guys as Legends. Yeah, it's getting a bit confusing.
I think it's just a Legend persona rather than the Legend outfit. I think that's probably the way they're going to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like we discussed before, we had that episode on the AW Legends. So obviously you can have the Taz in there as current day, who's a luminary for certain things, suplexing. So yeah, they could go down that route of having current day legends, which, let's be honest, they've got quite a few of them now, and their current personas that pave the way for the younger guys coming through.
I know, but I want to see these luminaries in the past version. I don't want to see them in the current day. I'd rather just see Sting in the Unrivaled line and have Sting from 1998 in the Luminaries line, right?
I'd say I kind of agree with you, but I also would say that the TNA, when they tried that, they proper bombed. If you think of like the Terry Taylor figure and the Jeff Jarrett figure, which were so awful when they tried to make them legends from when in the 80s or 90s, they were terrible. So it could go wrong if they do that, but depends how they play it, if they play it well enough.
I thought that Sting was pretty good, actually. The one in the orange, that was pretty nice, actually. Orange and blue from Jax. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Probably. I didn't mind the Sting from that series, truth be told, as far as the Sting figure goes. But MJF comes with a coat this time, which the last one from the Unrivaled series didn't have. So that's another repaint. If we just cover Santana and Ortiz as well, 2 more repaints quite early on as well.
Are they different heads, though?
Different heads, yeah, bodies-wise. Same. I believe they've got...
My criticism of the last MJF figure was that it didn't have a robe, so at least, they've got that this time.
Yeah. So, question is, Johnny, obviously the unmatched ones are going to be in different packaging. Are you going to go for all of these as well?
Yes.
Still going to carry on. They could release a turd in a box, and I think you still pick it up. But yeah, Santana.
Yeah.
Tay Conti has gone to next, who is a cherry in Adam's eye, we know that. But I think the figure-wise, it's quite early days for her to have one, so it's a massive push, essentially, just from figure form. Adam, what's your view on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive push. I mean, you'd expect the time that the figure released is her to be given a little bit of a boost in the show as well. I know she's been building, but you'd expect it to correlate with that. The figure's good. I mean, the face is, again, same as Britt Baker, that there is definitely room for improvement in the images that I've seen. Very interesting shorts. I know obviously it is what she wears, but obviously they will be front facing in the package, but you can pretty much see half of her rear, which is very interesting for a child buying a figure. You can just imagine Mum's face when he gets home and opens it and turns the figure around. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I do prefer accuracy over playability for kids being a 35-year-old kid. But referring to that little belt you got holding you there, FWL, Tay Conti's doing very well in that.
Cheers.
So it's surprising how many wins that these guys who are pretty much on dark are getting, and maybe how much popularity they're getting on YouTube. So it's a good choice.
Definitely, yeah. She's getting a big push, and she's getting a lot of opportunities which she didn't get in WWE. I didn't think she was there for very long. Mae Young Classic, a cup of coffee, and then off she popped, which was a bit of a disappointment because I think she was improving. And Wardlow is the last for the match series 2. A big guy. The figure represents him well. I think body-wise, it looks really good. I'm quite impressed with the Wardlow figure. Quite bland, but I think it represents him quite well. But Johnny, let's go to you on this one. What do you think of Wardlow?
Just a great choice for a figure. Absolutely needed. MJF's bodyguard in the setup for a bit, and then in the pinnacle, you absolutely need a Wardlow figure for your AEW collection.
Yeah, you two have summed it up. I thought body shape wise, it was brilliant. It looks really good facial wise. It is boring, but that is Wardlow. He's not going to be very exciting, this current model of Wardlow that we got, unless you stick him in a suit, and I don't like suited figures, so wouldn't suit me. But everyone's going to want it because they're going to want the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle.
Indeed, they are. Speaking of factions, and there's a lot in AEW. Factions and legends, that's the two things that they can specialise in. Unmatched Series 3, Dark Order based. So you get Stu Grayson, you get John Silver, Anna Jay, Evil Uno, and Darby Allin as an LJM for some reason, knocking about in there. And last but not least, Brody Lee. Lovely. We all wanted. Johnny, you're throwing your hands up.
Yeah, I mean, like Darby Allin was a bit of an odd choice for the series. If they're going to just do all Dark Order, why don't they just do all Dark Order? Maybe have an Adam Page as your LGN exclusive if they're going to do that. But otherwise, it's hard to comment on a figure when you haven't seen what they are. So I couldn't tell you, but it's a good choice. Good choice. Yeah.
I'm gonna brush over the LJN on this one and just give a little bit of applause to Jazzwares, because that's what we've been wanting. We've been wanting a series which makes complete sense, which isn't just rehashes over and over again. So well done. It's there.
They've got it with the unmatched, which is good to see. But yeah, I think Alex Reynolds will feel hard done by. But so Unrivaled Series 7. We discussed the Pinnacle a second ago. So we've got Cash Wheeler and Dawson.
Dax Harwood.
That's the one. I was just skipping for my pictures and look at the images. And I was like, I know it's Dawson. Dax Harwood.
You wouldn't get the right name with him anyway because they put him as Dax Hardwood in the images.
That's what I've got here is Dax Hardwood. So I thought we were Dawson just to try and make sure that YouTube doesn't pick it up as something that it isn't. But yeah, FTR, we can have them in the Pinnacle now. We've got I'm not sure the Spears yet. We have a 4 out of the 5 Pinnacle for your matches there. But Adam, let's go to first on FTR.
It's a new line of people. Brilliant. Well done. They are boring as anything, and you might as well just have the revival from the NXT takeover range of WWE. Simple as that.
These are just renders, aren't they?
Yeah, just renders so far. Coloured renders, painted renders.
No comment.
It looks like they're in, I'm going to say this now, sort of Brainbuster-esque trunks, which I quite like. A little touchback for Tony Blanchard there. Also, you might comment later. Right, okay. Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, again, in AEW Unrivaled Series 7 in their black attire with the gold down the side. Nyla Rose is a new paint in there as well. We had a discussion with this, Adam, when it first came out, didn't we? I can't remember what you compared Nyla Rose to, but yeah, what do you think of Nyla?
Yeah, I can't remember myself, but it's the body shape. The body shape is horrendous. I mean, the face is really over-exaggerated. It's almost cartoony, the face that we've seen, so I'm really hoping they make improvements with that. But the body shape is all wrong, completely wrong.
Yeah, as I said in the FTR, I don't want to make comment on not a final a final product, so the face in the renders doesn't look good, so hope they do improve it before release.
Lance Archer. It's hard to say, isn't it? It's the last one in Series 7. So, Adam, what's your view on this one? If you've got an opinion on this figure, I know Johnny's probably going to be no comment, but carry on.
It's always going to be a brilliant figure. He just looks like everything you want from a figure that's a bit different. I'm really hoping they use him a bit better in the programming before the figure comes out, and then he'll get rubbish sales if they don't.
They've really got to get this one right. He's so toyetic with that hair, the braided hair. You know, you can't go wrong with this.
Definitely. And another thing that's going to break your bank, Johnny, is the AEW new authentic scale ring, Double or Nothing ring with Aubrey Edwards. There's the little bonus figure on there. You're going to be getting 2 of those, Johnny?
Oh, God, probably. I'm looking at a ring now, and I haven't really finished building it. In fact, I did finish it for the video, but then I took it apart because I wanted to measure it for customizing some ropes to sell on, see if they were same size as the Wicked Cool toys. So I'm just looking at it now. It's just sat here ever since. It's down there. You can't see it.
No.
But the figure is, my words were acceptable for a referee. You don't need to put much detail into it. So, yep, it looks like her. Why not? I'll be buying it, I guess.
I've seen so many things on the internet recently saying it's what everybody's been wanting. Everybody's been demanding that Jax and Mattel and stuff produce a referee figure. I don't think I've ever seen anyone ask for a referee figure unless it's for like a really little kid that's in the middle of playing with it. So I don't really know where that's come from. As far as the figure, I mean, the figure's acceptable. Her character in AEW is absolutely terrible. Really cannot stand her. Can't stand her as a referee. There's my feelings. Done.
The only time I've ever felt like I couldn't stand her was when I tried to listen to a podcast, and I only listened because it was about Brody Lee. And she turned me off listening to the AEW podcast. As a referee, she's done all right. But then recently she's kind of lost it as well. But any other referee in AEW now has no credibility in terms of actual authority. It's like some sort of rinse and repeat of, throw a wrestler outside, pretend you didn't do anything. The referee never seen anything. Pretend you never seen anything, and then carry on as normal.
Well, I can see what's happening. WWE have taken that line of, we don't want the referee to even be noticeable. We don't want to say their name. We don't want anyone to focus on the referee. So AEW has gone, oh, we're going to be different to WWE. Let's have the referee take over and be the main star of the show in the lower matches. And that's terrible. The wrestlers, for me, if I was one of those wrestlers in that match, that would irritate the hell out of me.
Interesting. I don't know if I disagree with that.
Be awkward if someone was dressed like a referee right now, wouldn't it?
Go on then. You tell me your feelings, referee Jamie.
I like the hands, the spare hands you get with it. Can that give you an opinion? So you get spare hands of 1, 2, and then ones that are like sort of, what do you call that? Just standard palm hands. I quite like that because obviously if you're making fig photography, you can have the 1, you have the 2. No one's really going to go on the 1, but I quite like that in regards to the extra detail they've put into there. As far as the referee goes, I think they quite enjoyed the fact they've made a referee. No one asked for it, as Adam said, but I quite like the fact they've made one. So yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not going to buy it, but I don't mind it.
I think I do disagree with Adam when I think about everyone has asked for referees over and over and over again, and it's the perfect release for the ring. Like, at least they didn't re-release the ring with Kenny again. They've done something different.
Cody.
They've found a good way to get a referee in the line, and I think that's pretty clever. Well done.
I'll completely accept that. I'm completely accept that opinion as far as I think it is clever and I think it will sell. I just don't know. I'm seeing everyone say everyone's asking for referees, but I've never seen it in the past. I've never seen people going, does anyone have a referee? Unless it's for a small kid that just wants to play.
Well, me and you are sellers on eBay. If you never got a referee in your hands, you put it on eBay. How fast do they sell? You could put Shawn Michaels as a referee.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I've only ever had a couple of those talking ones, and I suppose they have gone quite quick.
They do. They do sell well.
In 1, 2, 3. I still like the old WCW Toy Biz referee that come with, I think it was Kevin Nash. I just like that. I still like that one, the blue one. That's the one. That's the guy there. For reference.
YouTube.
Yeah, I still like that one. He's got the two fingers up. There he is. It's been a two count. So yeah, I still like that one. I think that's a timeless referee classic. And technically, even the size of the referees nowadays, probably in scale still. But
you need to come dressed as that one then next time, Jeremy.
Yeah, get an old Dickie bow. We've also had AEW 8 revealed. This is the wrestlers for that, but we'll just quickly brush over that because there's not really been much. There's not been any figures released for it. We've had Jericho, Moxley, Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, and Chris Statlander. Chris, we got Chris. So they're the 6 for that series. And we also had a Jericho Amazon exclusive revealed at the AEW Double or Nothing show.
We'll talk about them next time when we see them.
Yes, when we see them indeed. Right, so I believe that's it for AEW, unless you guys remember something that I've forgotten.
Oh, he's back.
Have you guys remembered anything I've forgotten on AEW?
Buddies, do you want to mention the buddies?
Yeah, I mean, they're fun enough, aren't they? I put a little post on Facebook about them. They seem to get a bit of interest. Luchasaurus, Darby Allin, Cody again, and Kenny again. Yeah, I've got some lads behind me there, just in case. But yeah, I quite like the thought of them. I don't think they're going to release them over here unless Smith's picked them up. But Luchasaurus was so well. It looks toyetic as AF, I think the kids say nowadays. Johnny, not sure if you want them.
Can I just ask who's directly above your right shoulder?
I'm guessing Sheamus.
That's Sheamus, and the Mysterio's behind him. And I've got Randy
From
Orton.
where it looks exactly like the Kenny Omega. And I kind of agree with Aidan, who commented on our Facebook about looking exactly like Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
Who won that one? But Luchasaurus, brilliant. Absolutely amazing buddy, really. In Darby Allin too. Cody's like in the middle, I guess, but they're pretty fun little series.
What I'll say about AEW, for all their faults, the wrestlers do seem to get behind the merchandise a lot more than any other company I've seen. So also they had at their show, Luchasaurus come out to the ring with the buddy in his hand at the Double or Nothing show, not the pay-per-view, obviously. But so I think it's something you don't rarely see nowadays. It's just the interaction between the wrestlers and essentially trying to flog the merch. I think there's a lot more interaction. I think they seem a bit more prouder of where it is, what they sell as well. So good to see.
He didn't really have anything to do other than watch Jungle Boy window, did he?
No, I mean, it's a toy to flog. And I think Darby also come up with his as well. But yeah, it does look a lot like Wade Barrett. So Aidan was correct on there. He should have his own podcast, some say. Right, so should we move on to Chella?
Yes.
So if we start with Adam Bomb, Brian Clark, Adam Bomb has been released under Chella Toys, the render for it anyway. Johnny, let's go to you on this one.
Yep. I think my comment with this was like anyone but Chella to make Adam Bomb or Brian Adams or Wrath or whoever, because I'm not a fan of Cello, unfortunately. I think they've shown a poor album so far. I'll leave it at that at the moment because I know we've got another bit of news to discuss after that.
Can I put him an argument with that, though, with Adam Bomb, very quickly? Yeah. Blue Meanie turned out brilliant. Adam Bomb is a very cartoony, bright character. There's a chance there.
Yeah, I've already got Hasbro Adam Bomb, though. I'm not too enthused about that.
But you get infused. That's a nuclear-based thing. Comes with removable goggles, so that's a good thing.
That's impressive, I guess. Why not?
How are they getting the licensing for the names on this? Do any of you two know? Because that is a WWE trademarked name. So how do they get?
We may need to revert back to our AEW Legends discussion. Fact that they might not own the name of Adam Bomb, and they might not, own the likeness of Bryan Adams, and they might not own the likeness of the symbol that is on his shirt. There might be ways around that.
Well, surely every man and his dog would be doing that for the past few years if there was ways around that. I don't get that.
I have no idea, but that is my suggestion.
I know Brian Clark, by the way, not Bryan Adams. He releases his own merch on like Pro Wrestling Tees and stuff with the Adam Bomb logo and with the Adam Bomb image and so on. So they mustn't have trademarked the name. Would be the only way to say it.
Yeah, that's it. Did I say Bryan Adams or did
you did say Bryan Adams? You did say Bryan Adams.
I'm just maybe thinking that are WWE actually giving people the rights to do like a limited amount of something in return for cash because they know they're not going to do it themselves?
I think
like Dino Bravo as well.
I just think there's names they don't own. They don't own Dino Bravo. Definitely not. They obviously don't own Adam Bomb, which is surprising because it was a WWE character, but they mustn't have copyrighted it.
Maybe it's too close to the name, to the word Atom Bomb or something. Maybe they're not allowed, something like that. I don't know. Or maybe it was something else beforehand. Like maybe it was a Garbage Pail Kid or something. So that originally owns it, something like that. Because I think there was.
Probably. I mean, it's like one of those gimmicks that's so obvious to making it Atom Bomb. Got to be done.
It is. Yeah, he's had a bit of a tough time recently, Adam Bomb, so I'm quite glad that he's got a little figure coming out. Should be good to see. So from Adam Bomb to an explosion in the toy world for Cheddar Toys, they're doing 7-inch scale figures now, so rather than the retro size of 4.5-inch, they're scaling up, essentially. No real news. They just announced it on Twitter and Instagram yesterday, I believe, as of time of recording. They said, today we're proud to announce the name of our official 7-inch articulated action figure line. And they go on to thank everyone for their support. It's called Uncensored. Johnny, what's your view on companies like this starting up 7-inch scales?
I did think you were going to go from Adam Bomb to the Adam Hanslip sort of wrestling first and go to him. But yeah, very, very interesting. They haven't got the smaller version, retro version right yet. So I'm very cautious about what they're going to do with the 6 or 7-inch version of figures. I feel like they could just end up being like the next toy company where they release figures no one really wants them, to be honest.
I think the phrase running before they can walk comes to mind.
All right then. Anyone from Cheddar Toys listening? But no, I think personally what they've done is they've looked at the 4.5-inch scale. It's just an opinion and probably just a complete made-up crackpot theory. But I think they've realised how hard it is to get so much detail into 4.5-inch figures. They've gone, well, let's just do this in 7-inch figures. Because if you look at the Aldous as the prime example, that head would not look out of place on a 7-inch figure.
I very much disagree. That head would look out of place on any figure that exists in any sort of line, in any sort of range and any sort of articulation and any sort of skill. That head was really bad.
But size-wise,
Oh, right. So we're all based on size, not like quality.
yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Because that's my point. Is that size-wise, that head would look good on a 7-inch figure. Size-wise,
I think you're making a lot there, Jamie, out of something that they probably just made a mistake on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the head's terrible. But yeah, I mean, we can speculate as to who we think is going to be in the line, but we've pretty much done that in a previous episode, so there's no much point, is there?
Yes, there is actually a point because there is actual very much need for Adam Bomb that's in scale with the Mattel line or the Mattel Elite. I know the Jacks did it, but it's a bit bigger and don't kind of fit. So I'd be interested to see them do Adam Bomb or Wrath or Brian Clark in that scale. I'm interested.
Right. You went from completely not interested in Cheddar Toys to interested in 3 minutes. That's impressive.
No, I am completely interested in Cheddar Toys. I've just got no faith in Cheddar Toys at the moment.
Right. Yeah, so I think the main thing with them is they're giving it a go, and I think that's all we could ask for. Really, I think they're still a relatively small company, so they're giving it. Yeah, well, in Cheddar Toys, pat on the back for Cheddar Toys, just for your cojones. Let's go first to you, Dan, Johnny, for Zombie Sailor Toys update. Since the last episode, what have you got for us?
Who are you talking to? Me?
Yeah, said Johnny.
I believe that Hercules has been announced along with Paul Roma. So we're going to get a complete Power and Glory in the retro line. Lovely.
Well done, Zombie Sailor.
Makes sense. I think we're going to have the writing on the T-shirts, which is what the minimum we asked for, really, isn't it? On the two, but I would be interested to see if he gets the name Hercules. Did he use that? Was it Hercules Hernandez elsewhere? Or?
Yeah, he has used it elsewhere. I believe they are going to use Hercules Hernandez as the name, but I couldn't confirm that. And I imagine he doesn't have the power on the front, like, Roma doesn't have glory on the front of his shirt. So they're going to go around that and maybe write Hercules or Hernandez on the front of his shirt.
Interesting to see. Or wattage or something. I mean, yeah, fun to see. Is that it for news, boys? Anyone got anything else to bring to the table on the news?
Slim pickings.
That's it.
Well, it's been quite AEW heavy, isn't it? So I think they've had the majority of the announcements. And Mattel are due to announce the next big lot of figures, which we could speculate all we want, but rumor and innuendo again in the figure world is Undertaker and Kane Ultimates, so fingers crossed on those ones.
It's bound to happen. And Roman Reigns and all the rest. So, yeah. There's no need for all that. It's going to happen.
No, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it in 2 weeks at the next Comic-Con. But lovely, let's move on to some pick-me-ups now, boys.
Pick-me-ups. Pick-me-ups. Pick-me-ups.
Oh, it's some lovely pick-me-ups. Let's have a look at our pick-me-ups since the last episode. Johnny, let's go to you first.
Well, I got this. And I got this. So this first is a pair of legs. Second is a torso. And I've got 2 arms and a Shawn Michaels head and hat. And this equals Commissioner Shawn Michaels.
So
building time with Johnny.
Yeah, I thought it was a Mr. Bean custom.
I'm going to try and build it at the moment. So why don't we move on to someone else while I try and build it?
Should you go to me first, Adam, or you?
Don't care, mate. You go for it.
I'll go for it. There's no BCA corner this week. I'm sure you'll be as upset as Johnny is trying to screw on the Shawn Michaels head. But also I have had some Hasbros arrive. They had a little thing on the Legion Hasbro Facebook group where I had the little free claims bit. First of all, shout out to Clark from Legion of Hasbro's who sent me out a crush free of charge, just paid the postage. Really, really good figure. It's a bit of a not a cheapskate, all right? They said it's free. If I didn't get it, someone else was going to get it, and why shouldn't I get it? I'm starting a very modest collection of so far very dead wrestlers, but still it's good to have. So another freebie was the Ricky Steamboat that we got on there. He was also just paid postage. Please don't call me a cheapskate on that one. I also got a Big Boss Man and a Hawk, which I've got in a little cheeky little bundle. Boss Man Series 1 and Hawk from the LOD 2-pack. And last but not least, my bonus prizes from the Legion of Hasbro quiz. Owen Hart, Hasbro, from his High Energy Tag Team, and British Bulldog from his Low Energy matches. There we go. Johnny, have you finished your...
Was it High Energy or was it New Foundation?
It's not High Energy. I'm pretty sure it's High Energy with Coco Beware.
I'm trying to think what trousers he wore in the New Foundation.
I'm sat on the back of the bio card for Owen Hart. It says with High Energy with his tag team partner Coco Beware.
Cool.
Yeah, I actually think in the New Foundation you had straps over the shirt. So yeah, I'll probably say it's High Energy version of Owen, but that's like comparing apples to crab apples. That's but I've come to Shawn Michaels at least.
Oh, that's good. At least his hat's on straight.
It's not really. Couldn't get on. It seems too big, but wow, £100 figure, I guess, at least. In fact, I went for $150 on eBay. I seen last week. There we go.
It's it's one of those ones where I didn't realize that actually come out until I think we were talking about it 6-7 months ago. To come out in the flashback series, with the Harley Race and the Stone Cold, and Steamboat and Jet Snake. So yeah, it's one of those ones that's just very rare because all the figures are very rare. Harley Race is really, really hard to get.
Pretty much, that's it.
So a good figure from a not very good time in Shawn Michaels' life. Johnny, back to you or go to Adam? What do you reckon?
Me next, my friend.
Go to Adam then.
Picked up a couple of basics for the tag team display. I made a decision. I do have these two in the Elites, but with them just being released, which we'll cover in a segment very soon, I think the value might rocket. So I've decided not to open my Elites and just get the basics, which is the Iconics. I think the basics are very similar, apart from not having the attire and things like that, not having the extras, basically. So they will go in my newish display for tag team.
Yeah, I recently acquired a Elite Peyton Royce, and I was astounded to see what sort of prices they're going for. So yeah, you might not be under a wrong and by keeping them in box. So nice one, good pick up, and yes, certainly a tag team.
Out of interest, are the boots spelt correctly on the sides? So I know there was errors, wasn't there?
Ooh.
I've never heard this.
They are not. You are correct. Peyton's is, it says Iconics, but Billy's says Icoics.
There we go. Yeah.
Good knowledge.
Well, I think I can't remember where I bumped into it. I think I was looking at Unreleased Wrestling Figures Instagram or something, and they had a load of error figures released, and that was one of them. The first batch released had Icoics on it. So.
It worth millions?
No. It might be in a few years. I think there is more of the Iconics one than there is the Icoics. So.
Well, Jamie will surprise us with some knowledge. Well done, son.
Well, it's not. I'm only here for my hosting skills. You guys should be the big wigs for the knowledge. Yeah.
You surprised me, son. You really did.
There we go. Right, well, let's move on to you and see what you can surprise us with your pick-me-ups next.
Yes, so I picked up a bit of a Lucy and something that's really not needed. It is the Chase Hurricane Helms.
Well, you say it's not needed, but I'd prefer that to the original. Or is it?
I also prefer this one as well. It's so much better, and just by having white boots. White boots makes everything better.
Are you wearing white boots now? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is I'm going to wear white boots when I make my wrestling debut.
Oh. But yeah, what was it? Crack on, Sir Adam.
I'm going to say something that I very, very rarely say here, and that is I prefer the Jacks. You know, the one that came, I think it was a Raw line, and he had a ponytail and the glittery cape.
Yeah.
Much prefer that one to the Mattel releases. They're lovely, they're great, they're toyetic, don't get me wrong, but the Jacks was a step up.
I think that was a Titantron, wasn't it?
It was.
The point. Yeah.
Can I one-up you there, Adam, and say something that I very rarely say? I prefer the basics for Hurricane. The basic Hurricane. I like the mask a lot better.
Absolute rubbish, Jamie.
I do like the basic head. I think the long wavy hair and the mask works.
Nah. But it doesn't spend the time, so I'm not interested in that. In late 2010 or whatever it is. Anyway, I'm just going to move on to another Lucy. I got this from Facebook from Harry Roberts, and it's Triple H in the Decade of Dominance. Don't know why, but yeah, there he is. Thoughts, life is short. Why not?
It's Triple H's cycling shorts, wasn't it, when he tore his quad?
Yeah.
2003? Yeah, it was right with Goldberg, wasn't it?
Yeah. There he is. Thoughts?
I really like this Triple H. I think it. Well, I was 13 when he was in this attire, but I think it's a proper heel. You want him to lose Triple H, which is my favourite kind of Triple H. So yeah, it brings back good memories.
Yeah, I like the cycling short Triple H's. I think they just look different enough. All Triple H's were getting very samey, so the cycling short ones are different. I like them.
Yep, and it's a shame to see I haven't got that purple version of Triple H right yet. Might be a spoiler for a future episode.
Back to you, I think, Johnny. Me and Adam only had the Van.
I've got two more.
Oh, you got two more? Oh, apologies, Adam. Carry on.
I finally bit the bullet on this one and pretty much bought £32 worth of stuff for just a belt. So I got the Goldberg, Bret Hart, and the lovely WCW United States title. These two will probably be zipped onto eBay, but at least I've got my US belt now.
Are you telling me you only paid £32 for that set?
I think it was, yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent buy. Bret Hart.
Loose, but it came with all the accessories and everything as well, innit?
Yeah, you've made a really good purchase there. You know, Bret isn't too bad, I guess, but, you know, it could be better. The pink's not right. The designs aren't right, but the belt's a bit big as well.
It is very large.
But value for money, you've got it right there because it's only going up in value, that one.
Put on your other shoulder, Adam. There you go. About the same size. Yeah, it's the salmon Bret Hart, isn't it? I remember Johnny picked up a few months back when that came out. But yeah, I don't think they've perfected Bret Hart since... When did the King of the Ring one? What was the flashback one?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this before, that they haven't got Bret's tights right. For a long time, they seem to come a lot round to the front where they shouldn't do. They should be, you know, the design should be down the side. They've kind of ruined it. I think it's because they want to see the design in front when it's in the package. And that's pretty much all I'm thinking about, why they're doing that. But it's not accurate.
Yeah, I guess you want to put all your sort of cards at the front. And some of the Batista figure, when they had the Batista tattoo, when they turned it around, so you could see that because that was the only good bit of the figure. Sorry, Adam. Yeah, go on to your next one. Johnny, I think, is next, isn't he?
Sure. Let's go on to an ultimate. It is Macho Man Randy Savage. Been waiting for ages for this. I pre-ordered in January, February, and it's like waiting for a bus, and I got both on the same day. from two different sellers, so I will be opening one of them. I think it's a really good figure, and I know Adam's chopping at the bit to tell me how shit it is, but he's not going to do it.
I genuinely dislike that figure.
I'm not going to let you say you dislike this figure because it is, you know, you can't even complain about the torso because it fits in well with the t-shirt. I don't know what you've got against the head because it's accurate. You even said yourself the jacket's right. It's got glasses and it's got a hat. It is.
You know what? You keep it in the box like that and have it on a little display, and it'll look beautiful. It'll look cracking. But as a figure to open, put the jacket on, doesn't fit right. The head's terrible. It's not a good figure.
All right, so let's take the jacket away. Forget the jacket.
Don't take the best bit away.
Really?
The jacket is. When I saw that jacket, I thought I'm going to get that figure, and then somebody else showed it me when they got it loose and with the jacket on, and it just didn't hang right. It didn't fit right. The close-up of the face. The face is your typical Ultimate face. They're just not as good as other faces.
I think it's the same face that was used in other elites, to be fair.
You reckon? They usually change it on the Ultimates, and I think it's got a weird expression, especially in one of them.
There is two heads, so you could change it in like one of them. You may be right about the fitting of the jacket. I'll maybe give you that, but I think it looks really good without the jacket already. So, yeah.
Is it the?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just fed up of Macho Man figures.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Maybe do a little unboxing of this one, see what I feel like when I open it.
Don't do it with Adam, whatever you do. Just be beepers everywhere, swear boxes. I don't think it's the right choice for an Ultimate Edition, personally, but I think it's the only choice they had left. It's the only one they haven't done.
It's not the only one they haven't done. If I was going to choose another Macho Man to do as an Ultimate Edition, I'd choose WrestleMania 5. They've done a base of it, which is fair enough, but I think they could really do something good there. It's a very iconic look for them.
Yeah.
So it could be hard, but not bad.
It's a shame they didn't blow their load on WrestleMania 7, Macho, because that would have made a really, really good Ultimate.
Yeah, good point. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just re-release it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll buy it as well. Adam will say how bad it is.
Yeah, at least with that one, you know, one positive I'll give it is the body isn't too bad because it's not just a skin body. Because you know I don't like the Ultimate bodies. This one can get away with it.
That's something I can agree with you on about the bodies when they've got no shirt or even just a bit of a singlet on. When they look the bare body, they look terrible. You're right, like the Steve Austin that's coming out, not good.
Whereas the Bret Hart looks great. So
yes,
sort of.
Yes.
Yeah, Bret.
I'm somewhere between your opinion and Adam's in that one.
I like the Bret Hart, but the Triple H one, I agree on that one. I think the elite they come out of Jeff Hardy recently is. So we'll probably do an episode on the Ultimate one soon. Yeah, just brush over this one.
Yes.
Thanks,
move
mate.
on.
Back to you.
So I'm going to imagine Jono's going to have similar here, and he's probably going to trump me with a couple more here if he's got them yet. So you got Sammy Guevara from AEW.
Yeah.
And Santana and Ortiz from AEW. At first glance, only recently got these, haven't had a chance to check them out. I've been too busy. They look really good. Me and Jamie had a chat about how without the attire and stuff like that, the AEW figures, for me, aren't great. You look at Orange Cassidy and the pictures without his stuff on, it looks terrible. So Sammy Guevara is probably going to suffer from that. But as a three with all the accessories and stuff, they look good.
Spoiler. I've presented Omega instead of Santana Ortiz. But yeah, I've got both of those, Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. I think you've got a point about, if you take the entrance stuff off, might be not be as good. I actually heard a rumor that, in fact, it's not even rumor. I think it's just actually true that the tricep of Sammy Guevara is on the wrong way. So you have to, if you want to make it accurate, you have to swap it over.
Wonderful.
And also the cards are incorrect as well, aren't they? All the cards say "hit me up" when they should all say different things.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was up, because I seen on the forum, it's like, oh, my card says "hit me up." I said, well, yeah, mine does too. And it's like saying, well, does anyone else say something different? I'm thinking, well, no, you can see it in the window. And it says, oh no, there's 3 cards in there.
Is that? I've never. This is the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, there's 3 cards in the pack, and they're all supposed to say different things. But when they're released, they all say "hit me up."
Yeah. So
Which,
that's
once again is being redone at the moment. So I'd probably hang on to those in box, Johnny, if I was you, and pick up some non-hit me ups, some lovely hit me ups in the future.
No, I'm going to be opening these ones. So I got them from Smith's, and I'm not saying like they arrived with any damage or anything, but I've ordered the same ones from Fig Pop Shop, so I'm going to get them defenders. So I'm going to open these ones. And you're right about Santana Ortiz. I think pretty good figures.
Did you get Matt Hardy?
Yeah, yes, I'll move on to those if you want. So Matt Hardy, we'll do next. I've got Matt Hardy here.
The more I see it, the more I want to get it. It looks better and better every time I see it. And obviously, with him being involved in a faction now, I'm probably going to invest in this one.
It's a good figure of Matt. I think a lot of people, and I think I agree, is that AEW has done a better job than WWE in recent years with Matt Hardy figures. So yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing that surprised me is that it come with the drone, because I remember seeing this in package. You can't even see the drone in the package, so you're kind of surprised when it is actually there. You can kind of see it if you look in an angle.
Might have made it a better selling point if they'd put it better.
Yeah, I agree. It's quite a good accessory, really. And to complete, I've also got Kenny Omega. So obviously the best Kenny Omega figure released by AEW so far.
I was about to say that. It does, I think of all of them so far, that's been my favourite one.
The first 2 releases were done by Skin Tone Issues. So, yeah, looks pretty good, this one. Nice.
One thing I will say, also we discussed last episode about the sort of scale back of accessories. The Matt Hardy one's just loaded, essentially, isn't it? You've got Vanguard one, you've got the jacket, you've got the hologram, I think there's some spare hands knocking about in there. So they've really put effort in to the Matt Hardy one to make it look better than the ex-WWE one.
Yeah, it was a strange one because there's not actually any in that series that are very plain, are there? So they haven't saved money there.
Yeah, I'm saying after the series they get pretty dire on accessories, really.
Once they've got you, you don't keep throwing worms at a fish once it's in the net, do you?
And to be fair, there's not much that comes with Cody on this series, if it ever comes out in
the His smirk to do with the money he's getting from it.
I think that Matt Hardy looks good. I think it reminds me a lot of the one that was not released with Bray Wyatt. They're supposed to do a what do they call it? The Hardy Compound match. It's supposed to come out the 2-pack about 2 years before he left. They never released it, so it's very similar to that with the drone and the hologram and so on.
I think there was a version that got released, right? Wasn't there?
Yeah.
There's a ringside
one.
one.
US exclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah. But there was one that was supposed to be released that's very, very similar to that figure that didn't get.
Yes. So you guys got nothing left, right?
Nope.
AEW all out.
Hardly main event, but I was forced to go this last because of the way it was presented to me. But it's X-Pac in NWO attire. So this is a fan takeover. Got it from Amazon. Took a while. There's a lot of delays and all that sort of thing. But with 35.04%, the NWO version won over the X Factor version of 36.8%.
Livid.
Close, actually. So you know you got an X Factor X Pack.
That's what I voted for, was the X Factor, I'm pretty sure.
So 1, 2, 3 kid, 31%. We could have got another 1, 2, 3 kid. Why not?
They could have done the heel version of the kid, though. That would have been pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was what they were going for, like the 95 version of Kid. I'm sure that was what was presented on the poll.
Yeah, it was.
But I think this is actually the first time that something I voted for actually won the poll. So I was quite happy to get it.
Do you then feel obliged to buy it now that you voted for it and it's won? Is that what you...
Well, of course. I mean, I also bought Randy Orton and got Johnny Gargano because they were all on Amazon.
I always find with the Amazon releases, if you're going to buy from the UK, just don't buy them from Amazon. Just wait until the shops get them in, because there's 9 times out of 10, there's going to be 4 or 5 figures that are damaged packaging. You can get them for a bit cheaper. I'm no Martin Lewis, but there's a bit of a tip for you.
Well, actually, that's not true, because I did get them cheap. Then any shops would be selling them.
The damaged boxes. I think I saw the damaged ones from Series 1 go for 18, 20 quid.
Oh, they all end up damaged. Like the Johnny Gargano, if I was going to choose between X-Pac and Johnny Gargano that arrived like together, I would choose that X-Pac was damaged, so I'd note on this one and then sell the Johnny Gargano. But it was the other way around. The Johnny Gargano I got was pretty damaged.
Good.
You're gonna get that customized to make it accurate, the Johnny Gargano?
I'm not even. I don't have any interest in keeping it at all.
So you could say that he's not very good at DIY.
Very funny.
Thank you. Cheers. Right. Anything else, Johnny Gargano?
That's it.
Johnny Gargano, nothing left.
Pretty much.
There's 2 jokes in one there for you. Brilliant. Well, we got our segment on that, Break It Down, where we'll be covering all the recent releases from WWE and all their future endeavors as well. So we're back shortly.
Break it down. Dum ba dum bum ba dum ba ba dum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum da da ba 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 da bum bum ba bum bum bum.
Back to our Break It Down segment, where we're looking at future endeavors and brains over brawn is what we'll call the episode. Adam, let's go across to you and discuss the latest WWE releases and what this means and where you think the company's going. So let's pop across to you first for some analysis.
Of course. Before we get into the kind of individual wrestlers here, which we'll come on to, this obviously it's a different category of releases. This you can see that there's much bigger names involved in this. There's clearly a different method behind these releases. For me, WWE don't seem bothered, or Vince or whoever don't seem bothered about the competition here. Because the big names that have been released could easily go and be an absolutely huge star in the competition. That shows me something, that they may not be invested in the product as much as they were. There's been a lot of speculation of, is WWE going to be up for sale? Is it up for sale now? Is it in the pipelines? Is there talks? There's been a couple of different companies, I think, rumoured. I couldn't name them, to be honest. One of you two might. Where do you think it's going? Do you think Vince is starting to think, I'm a little bit old, I'm going to cash in? What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't want to lead with this, but since you've kind of presented it, I do think the absolute end goal here is to sell WWE to someone else, Disney or, any of these big conglomerate type businesses that will, take over the content. And yeah, they're cost cutting. They just want to make record profits after record profits to make themselves look good. I heard Braun Strowman was a big contract, so that is certainly a reason why they probably cut him, because they had a lot of investment in the character. They pushed him quite a big recently, and ever since he's been on, really. But apparently that's just to too much to pay him now to make those record upon record contract, profits. Sorry,
It was over $1 million a year. Braun was on. They didn't give full details, but it's over $1 billion. More surprisingly was there was a text that was sent around, which hadn't ever been sent around before, by John Laurinaitis, where he texted all the talent in WWE saying, due to budget cuts, the following talent were released today. Obviously, Braun Strowman, Lana, Murphy, Santana Garrett, Ruby Riott, and Aleister Black. Never been done before. A text to all talent to say that these people have been released, which is once again a very strange way of doing it. I think they're trying to normalize it or standardize it at the moment, which is what I get from that.
Mr. Wills, how about answering the question before you move on to a different topic?
Can you repeat the question?
Why do you think these releases are happening?
Oh yeah, I agree. They're setting up. That's the only way around it. Only way around it. For I just said it was linked in between the two. This and the question was that it's a very strange way that they're doing it. So they're setting up. There's no two ways around it. Was it NBC, Johnny? Is that the right company? MBS?
I don't know. You said NCB in our text. I've never heard of them, NCB, but NBC is like a network in USA, so maybe that's more accurate.
But it's got to be a company that more likely won't have their own streaming service, because look at Peacock that have just bought the network over there. So that would make more sense to me rather than Disney. So the setting up is the end game. It's got to be.
So in your two's opinion, if it was going to be sold, would you prefer it to go to a big company who would kind of blockbuster it, kind of like your Disney aspect, or would you prefer it to be sold to a kind of AEW type of thing where it's almost merged by people that understand wrestling? What would you prefer?
I mean, like, is that a stupid question or what? I mean, there's no way to even say that I wanted to go to Disney. I obviously wanted to go to someone that wants to create wrestling content.
You don't.
I'm just thinking if it did go to a kind of Disney or something, they would have the money reserves to improve the product, to make it better, to get people in that did understand wrestling. Do you get what I mean? Whereas if it was incorporated into a kind of AEW side, there's a lot of aspects of AEW and rivals to them that I'm fed up with already. So that could lead to, again, like WWE have had no competition for ages, and it's got stale and it's got boring, and there's no invention, no ideas. Could that happen if they got into AEW?
I just don't think this is a question to ask. It's obviously going to someone like Disney over someone that's going to create a wrestling product. It's going to an entertainment industry.
Why?
Because it's that big at the moment. It's the only way to go.
But Tony Khan has more money than Vince, right?
His dad
so
does.
Why? Yeah.
I don't know.
So the family, yeah. So why couldn't that happen?
Okay. You've stumped me now. I have no idea. But the only way I've really seen this going is like, do you know the way that UFC was sold? I don't know if you did or don't. It went for a lot of money, and it went to, someone...
Zuffa.
A bit, well, Zuffa was sold to whatever company that now owns UFC. And I don't think Vince is going to sell for any less than what UFC was sold for, which is a lot of money.
Well, the rumor and innuendo, I think it's just a speculation, is $2 billion around that ballpark is what it would be sold for. Vince's net worth is $2 billion, so he'll be potentially doubling his not his net worth, sorry, his worth. So yeah, I agree. I don't want it to be sold because it's better the devil you know, isn't it? The product's not great at the moment, but it's not buried. Yeah. But it is better the devil you know.
Would the family have enough to do it? Like the Shane, Steph type?
I don't think they're massively interested. They've got a cushy job in there. As long as their job's secured, I don't think they'd care.
Yeah, I'd imagine if anyone does acquire this, anyone that wants a job from the McMahon family's got a job, Triple H, etc., as well included. So there's no issue there.
could they be? I mean, at the moment, obviously, Shane and Steph and things are kind of almost classed as owners in a way, even though Vince is the main guy. They're almost classed as owners. If they weren't the owners, do you think they'd put up with that? Do you think they would continue in a role?
You're trying to say if Shane wasn't Shane or Stephanie wasn't Stephanie, it's a lot of what ifs there.
I think for their knowledge, you'd have to keep them in the role. So Steph's chief brand officer, isn't she? And she does a good job of getting the brand out there. So I think she does a good job. She's not there for she's got there because of her name, but she stayed there and she stayed consistent with it. So I think for her knowledge, you'd have to keep her on board and be hopeful that she'd stay in the job.
I'm not saying would they keep her. I'm saying would she stay?
Oh,
because if she ended up with not as much creative control, not as much say in the product, I can't see people like Triple H and Steph staying.
I can see Triple H and Stephanie staying, but maybe not Shane McMahon. And I think if anyone does acquire it, they'd be stupid not to keep Triple H at least. And obviously that probably means keeping Stephanie as well at the same time.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. I think for their knowledge, you'd have to keep both of them on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
they'd run the risk of becoming on-screen characters who were a percentage of themselves.
Well, how long has it been since Triple H has been on-screen character? In fact, I'm clamoring to get Triple H back on screen. He should have been at WrestleMania for the last 2 years, and he hasn't been. I've missed him. Get him back, please.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with NXT as a first and foremost point. I think Triple H should stay on board with that. It's okay. Because I think that's back on the way up, even though it did get a bit terrible. I think it can get a lot better with him in charge. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes as well. If it does go through.
We've spoken about the kind of what do you think is going to happen with WWE. Let's speak a bit about the moral side of things. So WWE are coming out and they're saying these releases are due to money, basically, are due to budget cuts, are due to this, are due to that, blah, 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 poor us, poor WWE, when they're announcing record profits every quarter. And, you know, you've already touched on something that we'll touch on in a bit, which is Strowman's contract. But some of these that they've released are not on massive contracts. And them to come out in this current climate with the crisis that's happening and to basically fire people and take a living away from people. Yes, they know they won't suffer because they'll just go somewhere else. But to essentially take a living away from somebody and put it down to budget cuts with record profits is disgusting for me, personally.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point. I mean, it's the equivalent of me telling the wife I haven't got any money and yet you have wrestling figures pop through the door every day. It's the same sort of thing. So yeah, I think I completely agree with you. You can't say you got budget cuts and then record profits announced, but maybe the record profits are because of the budget cuts, and they're trying to, as Johnny said earlier, trying to allude to that.
Yeah, it's exactly that. They're trying to make record profits. There's no other reason. Obviously, they're budgeting cutting to make a lot of profit to show this is a profitable business. We are looking to sell. Give me lots of money.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So go into the storyline aspect now, and obviously mentioning the kind of characters involved that have been released here. Obviously, they're not telling the quite high up people because the storylines and everything, particularly Aleister Black making his comeback, particularly Braun Strowman. He had a WrestleMania win. He was at the last pay-per-view for the main title. So obviously the higher-ups that are organising these matches have no clue whatsoever that this is happening, which again suggests that WWE are not preparing for the future. So maybe a sale. That's really, if they aren't planning on selling this company, that is a really dumb thing to do.
I think they can do with losing a few of the, like, you know, Braun Strowman or Murphy or Aleister Black aren't household names. Like, I guess AJ Styles and, you know, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are. So they're not going to cut them, but they could probably cut some of the high other contracts, like, you know, the Braun Strowman and Aleister Blacks. So they've maybe got the high contracts on paper, but they're not highly valued in terms of, the audience. Maybe.
I get what you mean. From my perspective, it seems to be the people that they're not sure what to do with. So
yeah.
They're not kind of household names. I probably disagree with Strowman there. I get what you're saying, that he's not quite on the level of a Rollins, but I still think he's a household name. But they just clearly don't know what to do with him.
He had a Universal title run last year. This time last year, he was Universal Champion.
If I was put in some sort of creative position in WWE, I wouldn't know what to do with Strowman. How can you book someone that is bigger than everyone, who's faster than everyone? There's just no beating this guy, really, is there? You can't have it both ways. If you have a big man, you need him to be slow and plodding, not fast and can outrun anyone. What they've done is they've outbooked themselves. There's no way to beat this guy.
No, they've essentially created the perfect horror movie villain, and they've killed him off himself.
Pretty much. And when he did get beat, no one sort of believed it. It was like when Brock Lesnar beat him in Saudi in 20 seconds or whatever it was. It was like thinking, oh, well, that was a load of rubbish.
BS, yeah. Well, Reigns beat him how many times over the space of a few months? Ambulance matches and cage matches and all sorts. It was just...
Yeah. Before that, Braun had a good run against Roman. He beat him a lot of times.
So going back to the point of the contract. So when I heard the $1 million contract, I initially thought the same as you just said, Jono. That's a silly amount of money for somebody that don't necessarily 100% know what to do with, blah, 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 get it cut. But then if you think about it, wind back 20 years, WCW hire talent, probably on the level of Strowman, were probably on 3, 4, 5 times that much 20 years ago. So in the thinking of it, $1 million isn't actually that much.
Well, I do have to point out this time 20 years ago, WCW didn't exist. It was out
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
25 years ago, maybe. Yeah, sure, of course. There's no worry about opposition from WWE. I don't think they care about AEW, and I think they don't care because they're going to sell the company.
But also, obviously, WCW lost $50 million in a year, didn't they? Which I imagine those contracts and they're mistakes, aren't they?
Of course, I was just highlighting about the actual value of it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It's not actually that much, $1 million, if you think about that company.
But what they would have done is they would have looked at his contract, see how much they're paying him, see what his segments brought in ratings-wise, and see what his merch sells for, and realised, and the choo-choo train noise has also been future endeavoured. So
I heard a lot of people saying that he wasn't high up in the merch, but I didn't manage to get a look myself, so I'm not sure about that one. Aleister Black. Booker T's made some interesting comments about how he just didn't have it, and how he was just a normal character, and how he didn't stand out of the crowd. Thoughts on that very quickly?
I have to admit, when I first seen Aleister Black, I'm not a fan of people that kick in matches. I don't like kicking in wrestling. Wrestling isn't a kick fest. It really isn't. But, Aleister Black is a very talented wrestler, actually, when I've actually watched his matches. So I probably disagree with Booker T on that one, to be fair.
You clearly never played the old wrestling games on the NES then, Johnny, because that was one of the 3 moves that you could do was a kick. And that was
I did play them.
terrible. But I completely agree. I think if you look back at Aleister Black's NXT run, he was different. I think I completely disagree with Booker T. He was completely different. He was booked really well. He looked like a beast. His matches were decent. He had a good character. People behind him. His entrance music was good. In my eyes, the total package. Across the main roster, if he had nothing, he beat Bobby Lashley at Mania. Had really good matches with Murphy. We'll come to in a second. And then what? He had his eye taken out, didn't he? Had a damaged eye. And Yeah, it's just
It's
not.
just like now it makes Big E look a bit stupid now because Big E started that rivalry with him last week, and now there's nothing. Aleister Black for me, like you talked about complete character there. He could have been the complete character. He definitely wasn't in WWE, but he had the potential to be. They just didn't ever give him that massive push to do it. Fun fact: I was at Aleister Black's WWE debut. He debuted in the middle of the UK tournament, I believe, as Tommy End against Pac Neville. Great match. It was a dark match, so it wasn't on TV.
Ah, right. I was wondering why I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting that one.
Very briefly with the other ones, Murphy for me, again, apart from maybe interview skills in a way, although he was improving, could have been the complete package. I mean, you can make an argument for heights. He is a cruiserweight, but Murphy for me was absolutely phenomenal, whether he had a slow match, whether he had a fast match.
I think I remember the match against, I believe it was Cedric Alexander in Australia, and that was the best match I've seen all decade. I think
Super Showdown, wasn't it?
Up there, certainly. Brilliant match.
So they go back to Australia now and get a frosty reception, aren't they? They haven't got any Aussies on their roster, have they? The Iconics are now gone. The Ionics, what are they called?
Yeah. Shane Thorne or someone's Australian. I don't know.
Is he gone?
No, he's still in it. Slapjack.
Oh, of course. Yeah. He's not on TV, is he? He'll be gone soon.
So the final ones are the women. Obviously not as big household names. But Ruby Riott, for me, was a shock. She's not going to be on a big contract. She's very, very active out of those 6 people. She was probably on it, apart from when she was injured, she was on it week in, week out. She's in a tag team, and Liv Morgan's already proven that she couldn't go on her own, which makes no sense really for me. Lana, everyone saw Lana come in. They just took their sweet time with it. To be fair to Lana, she's been involved in some good storylines recently, and she's improved outside the ring. Inside the ring is a bit of a different story. And Santana Garrett was given a Royal Rumble spot this year. What's the point of that? That's one of my favourite shows and a wasted spot for somebody. Is the women's evolution over?
Oh, well, come on. You lay us all this information and then give us a different question at the end. Right, Santana Garrett, hot as hell. That's all I've got to say about her. I don't know about her wrestling skills, but I've seen her a couple of times. She's very pretty.
She's all right. She's spunky would be the word I'd use for her. No pun intended. I think she's very explosive, I think, when you watch her wrestling. She's decent.
Sure. I mean, Lana, you could obviously attribute all the things I've just said about Santana to her, and she's lasted so long, really. Like, it's too long, if you know what I mean, because of the Rusev situation. Surprising that she lasted that long. I don't know why anyone would think she would have won at WrestleMania.
No idea. Yeah, agree on that. I don't agree with the fact that she's improved outside the ring. I thought she was very, very good when Rusev first comes to WWE. I thought she had a very good role then, and she played it really well.
I was talking more about the way that she handled herself during the Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler thing, because although she took all the bumps, her acting skills and things like that, I thought were pretty good in that.
Yeah, she is an actor. That makes sense.
Bumps about going through a table. Going through a table is much better than taking an actual bump, apparently. I've never been through a table. To comment.
We'll wait and see. Yeah. And as far as, in my opinion, for Ruby Riott, I think I agree with the fact that we've proven with Liv Morgan that she's not got the capabilities of going alone. I think out of the Riott squad, people tend to warm to her more because she is better looking than the other two. Controversial opinion, but I don't think she's a better wrestler than Ruby Riott. I think Ruby Riott will show up in AEW and be called Penelope Protester or something. There'll be something there for her to get a hold of. So
she's got a household name outside of WWE with Lovelace. So
there we go. I think she was a really good wrestler. I think I watched a documentary before WWE or whatever it was called, and she's decent. So I think she's got a good look about her as well.
But yeah, on that last question then, that really brings down the women. Sorry, were you going to say something before that, Gemma?
Yeah, just about Liv Morgan, and just to get that little thing in, is that, if WWE don't sell the company, she better not answer her phone.
But yeah, the women's division is so depleted now. There's no point in these women's tag team titles, NXT women's tag team titles. There's barely enough people to defend against. Having a Raw women's champion, a SmackDown women's champion, NXT women's champion, there's nobody there. It's pointless. So the evolution is over, in my opinion.
More belts than there is wrestlers.
There's 7 women wrestlers on SmackDown at the moment. 7. Which is crazy. And you got to think the SmackDown Women Champions are Women's Tag Champions, are there, and there's only 7 people. It doesn't make any sense. So you got Bianca Belair, Bayley, Tamina, Natalia, Ruby Riott, Carmella, and one more.
And 2 of those are already champions.
And 3 of those are champions, Bianca Belair. So Sasha Banks is the 7th, who hasn't been on TV since Mania. So yeah, what we're going to do, my only theory is that WWE have gone to the Performance Center and told all the NXT performers to go to the Performance Center, I think, this week. There's going to be a massive scout there, and you're going to see a massive call-up very soon because they're on very small contracts compared to the big dogs. So we're going to see a lot more talent come through, I would have thought, from NXT to the bigger shows.
Yeah, you're going to have to see that Ember Moon's swan song is going to be getting beat by Raquel Gonzalez in next takeover. And you might see Shotzi Blackheart go with her. And then at least you got some challenges of the tag team titles on WWE.
I'd put Dakota Kai up there as well because she's holding Gonzalez back. And
to be honest, Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are excellent, but it's probably not the time to bring them up when they're so prominent in NXT. And
I kind of agree with Jamie there. I think Dakota Kai could end up leaving Raquel Gonzalez and make that transition on her own.
Oh, yeah, definitely, but it's not the time. You need to at least maybe have them against each other before that happens. Yeah,
it's a good thing one of them's champion because it's probably going on that route, isn't it?
You need to make a realistic storyline to make that happen, so it's going to take some time.
So obviously that's on the back of the other most recent ones. We don't have to go in depth with these people, but like you got Samoa Joe, Iconics, Chelsea Green, Wesley Blake. Let me move my phone because it's covering them. Tucker and Kalisto, which weren't as high profile. I mean, the Iconics were very much a surprise, but they weren't as high profile. But it's a bit worrying that they're going more and more high profile. Rumors next. You've got Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Liv Morgan. Any others that you see on the horizon?
There you go. You went full force into saying some things for us to comment on, then ask a different question. I just want to say about Kalisto. I remember the first time I seen him because I didn't really watch NXT at the time. But when he first came to the main roster, I was astounded by how fast and agile he was, and I thought, this is the next Rey Mysterio, really. And then I'm not sure what happened. He even beat Ryback. He had a US championship run.
He had 2 US title runs.
Yeah, beat Del Rio as well.
Rumor has it he was a bit of an idiot backstage. Yeah, he was always moaning about everything. He was always a negative impact on people. So
fair enough.
I think we go through the full list of people that have been released. So start with the males. So we got Strowman, Miro, Samoa Joe, Andrade, Aleister Black, Murphy, EC3, Eric Young, Kalisto, Alexander Wolf, Zack Ryder, Brian Myers, or I can't remember who his name was.
Gimmicks are real. Here, Jamie.
Kurt Hawkins, Heath Slater, the Canellises, Micah Maria, Bo Dallas, Rowan, Tucker, Curtis Axel. That's all the men. Cut across the women, and there's bigger names in here compared to some of the other ones. So we got Mickie James, Kairi Sane, Deonna Purrazzo, who's now TNA champion, Tay Conti, Serena Deeb, Ruby Riott, Chelsea Green, Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, Selena Vega, Lana, Vanessa Bourne, Santana Garrett, Sarah Logan, Jessamine Duke.
WWE have released the best women's wrestler in the world.
In the last year.
Who do you think was on the list that you just...
Well, Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way of ever saying it. So look at tag teams now. So FTR being one. Gallows and Anderson, AOP, Cutler and Blake, the Colognes. And obviously legends that have gone to AEW. Christian, Big Show, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy. And then the final one, Kurt Angle. So that's all the people that have left in the last year or been released. You can make a decent roster out of that alone.
What did I tell you? There's no competition. They don't say it's competition, and they're not worried about any sort of upcoming company becoming something.
Or are they welcoming the competition and want to encourage it? Because it's been lackluster since WCW, and I think that if they can create their own internal war, could that push ratings back up?
No. It's not competition.
That's settled then.
It's just not competition. It's I mean, even if like you could say AEW is the competition, they don't care. I don't think they care that AEW even gets more ratings or anything. I think they just want to sell this company. I can't say any other reason for this.
I've got to agree. I mean, if you wind back the years where Vince used to, on the sly, do little deals with ECW and things like that to build up that competition in a way, I get what you're saying, but I think the time for that has passed, and I've got to agree that they're going down the selling route.
It's probably glad for AEW then. Doesn't get as much as a bad run, and people are happy to leave.
Yeah.
So they can go there. Well, the grass is greener.
Yeah. I think I've said it 3 or 4 times, and I think that's the conclusion.
They're selling, yeah.
I think so.
Lovely stuff. Well, we've got a retro review next. So rather than looking forward, we can look back and review some wrestling figures. Yeah, Johnny's final note on it is that WWE is selling. Adam, have you in agreement?
Yeah, it's heading that way.
Lovely stuff. Well, look forward to having Mickey Mouse as Intercontinental Champion then. Brilliant. Let's move on to retro review, boys. Retro review time now. We're looking back at the Mattel Legends series, and we're on the last one of the Mattel Legends series. Let's fire across to Fenton.
Aye, certainly. We're in the last episode of the Legends series. We might move on to something else. We might not. Who knows? So last time we reviewed all the tag teams, and the top of the tag teams was actually Shawn Michaels from the Rockers, scoring 8.85, and just below that, Nikolai Volkov. Fortunately, Martin Jannetty didn't score high because of somebody, so he might have been a bit further up the table than that. But both both Shawn and Volkov scored in the top 10.
I hope Marty doesn't listen to this, Adam, otherwise you won't be seen again.
One of my favourite ever wrestlers as well.
All right, well, now you're backtracking. Just because you were... Well, don't hurt me, Marty. All right, Johnny, what have we got for this one?
Might get close to a river.
As always, start with alphabetical order, and I'm going to post to Adam here because he's got Andre the Giant in the Matty Collector, because I haven't got this one, actually. Tell us about it.
It's as plain can be, which was Andre, to be honest. He's just wearing a singlet with plain black medium-sized boots, not trunks. The head, I'll try and get in as close as I can without it being completely blurred. It's probably the best Andre head that there's been, to be honest. It's got a very slight shadow of a beard, looking grumpy. It's exactly how you kind of imagine Andre, especially the heel version of Andre. Body-wise, it's obviously much taller than all the other wrestlers, which is in scale. I'd probably say it's a bit more muscular than you expect from Andre, whereas Andre was a bit more dumpy, even with his size. But yeah, it's a nice figure, especially the head.
Yeah, I mean, like I've got the Elite 30, I think it is, or 29, something along those lines, and it's just missing something. And I think it's that the 5 o'clock shadow on the beard, and that one is so much better. So a simple figure done well. We always talk about that. I quite like this figure, and I think it is the best Andre the Giant figure ever released.
And the Hasbro.
Of course, better than Hasbro.
I like the Hasbro. I like the Hasbro's dumpiness.
Yeah, I like it, but not as good as that.
So as a child, I always thought that Andre wore this attire all the time. He didn't debut it until Mania 3, did he?
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy because I always picture Andre in this attire, but strange. But yeah, I like it as a figure, as Adam said, plain, but that's what it needs to be. There's no bells and whistles on it, but what's the point in putting bells and whistles if there's no need? So I quite like it. For me, I'll kick us off an 8.1.
Oh, okay. I was actually heading over 9. I'm going 9.2.
Wow. I just took marks off for the body shape being ever so slightly off an 8.5.
Yeah, I think the reason I'm thinking about that is I'm thinking about the Hasbro figure and what I might score that. And I think this is better than the Hasbro figure. So, I want to score it higher than I would do Hasbro figure, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, let's move on to the next one. In fact, let's move on to the next two because they are so similar. It is Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. It is the Brain Busters. And Adam has them too, of course, being a tag team collectivist. Is that a word? So Arn is a very slight variation. He's got the double A in red writing and Tully has the TB in the white writing. But otherwise, pretty much the same. So he's got some stars on his boots. And chest hairs are different. So they've made an effort to make them different, even though they are matching tag team figures. So pretty good effort, really. And they come with tag team titles, which I'm not displaying at the moment. And the first release of the WF tag team title, by the way. Very sought after when I first started collecting.
I like these figures. I think they're, once again, the same as Andre. They're quite standard figures, but I think they need to be. I think I prefer the Horseman Arn that come out on the 4-pack. I think I prefer that to this one. I think the colours should look a bit better on it, but I don't know. I quite like them.
Yeah, being a WCW fan, I did prefer the Arn because I appreciated more of Arn in WCW than WWF. If I'm looking at the heads, Arn is very slightly better than Tully, but I customised to Tully Blanchard, so I chipped away at his hair, completely shaved it off, made it completely bald, put him a little grey beard on, and honestly, it looked exactly like Tully Blanchard does now. So it must be a really, really good head. So although I think Arn's better, I'm kind of disproving my own point with that. But again, they're simple figures. This is a thing about this series that we're going to cover here. Simple figures done well.
So all right. So you've made a AEW Tully Blanchard then?
I just did the head. I haven't quite made the figure yet.
So we don't want to have a big reveal just yet. Yeah. Maybe check that out on the 3 points of our texturization pages. At some point.
What? Sorry.
I'll tell you what, Jamie, I'll send you the photo of it and you can bob it on.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
There we go. Right. I'm going to kick us off with the scores for this. And I agree that Tully's better than Arn. It's simple and it's good. It's 8.3, where Arn's at 8.1.
I like Tully's chest hair. 8.5 for Tully for me. Arn-wise, I prefer the Four Horsemen one, but I still can't really fault this one, to be fair. So only an 8.4, so only knocked one down below Tully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tully just takes it. So I've got Owen at 8.2, Tully at 8.3.
Lovely. Interested to see that one, actually. You've piqued my interest. Let's move on to DDP. So, I mean, a lot of you might have this figure or similar in Elite 36, but it is slightly different. The head is different. It's a much blonder version of DDP. I think the figure itself below the head is exactly the same as the re-release. So there you go. White teeth there, smiling. I think a lot of people have been clowning for a DDP with a serious head scan, not one that's smiling or being silly, and it's never really happened.
What era DDP would you say this is from? What sort of year?
1998. Yeah.
I just think that it's too bulky for me for that DDP. Well, it's too much of a wrong because you watched him more than I did, but I always look at DDP as more of a taller, leaner guy.
I think it's about right because it's not as if he's like, really bulky. He's quite skinny on the legs in a way, and the torso looks about right. He's got more six packs than he ever had, but yeah,
yeah, shoulders wise, I mean, like his shoulders are quite wide there. Well, normally they're quite.
I think it might be the jacket that's making it look like that more than anything, to be honest.
Maybe, it's got the nice. His tattoos done pretty well, cut with colour. So
yeah, I mean detail on it. You can't fault the detail on the back of the jacket, the trousers, all the tattoos. I agree. I think the head scan wise, you could do with a closed mouth, but he's showing those pearly whites off though, isn't he?
Certainly
yeah,
is.
This is one of the few figures that I've never owned, so I can't 100% give this. But I think the face looks a little tiny bit too cartoony for me, and that might be with the way that the mouth is opened. It's almost like they've tried to recreate the 2000s version of DDP, where he did the whole smiling gimmick, which he didn't do back then. He did smile, obviously, but it wasn't part of his gimmick, so it's not really needed.
Yeah, absolutely. The head lets it down in a way. The hair is really good. I prefer this one to the re-release, but the face isn't quite there. Absolutely.
It's quite.
Oh, go on, Jamie.
I was going to say it's quite AEW heavy, this series, isn't it?
You could say that. That one time when Andre the Giant won the Casino Battle Royal with me. Go on, Adam. Let me hear you, Scott.
Yeah, it might be quite harsh, this one, but I've never owned it, so I don't like the head. 6.8.
Yeah, that's nearly enough.
So I went a full point above 7.8 for me. I think it's just in my head. I don't think the body looks DDP-esque. Well, that era DDP anyway for me. I think it had a bit more chest hair as well.
He did.
And I've almost completely between you guys, and I've said 7.4. But yeah, it's the head that lets it down. Unfortunately, the sculpt, the hair, and the body is really good. But yeah, just about let down at the end. Next, it is not King Kong Bundy, but it's just Bundy. We couldn't get the license for King Kong, so we'll just call him Bundy. So there he is. He comes with his traditional singlet with a T-shirt of his own making.
I think the T-shirt was needed, wasn't it? Because if you got Andre in the same series, it's
something was needed, but I've never seen King Kong Bundy wear a T-shirt. For a long time, I just displayed King Kong Bundy without the T-shirt because that's the way I remember it. I've only just really put it on for the significance of the figure and how it was meant to be released. But what else could you release with him? Think of an accessory you could release with King Kong Bundy with that. That's not a shirt.
There's nothing. There's generally nothing. I can't think of anything from his mid-80s run to sort of the early 90s against Taker.
Yeah.
Was that 93, 94? Realm anyway. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Yeah.
Yep. So, yep. I guess there was nothing else, so they've kind of included that as a bit of a bonus, really.
Maybe an urn. Didn't you have a bit of a storyline where they took the urn or something?
Yeah.
Everyone clutching at straws. Gun to my
we've
head.
already had a Punk with the urn, which really wasn't needed either.
No.
Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I can't decide on the face. I look at it and I just can't decide. Is it good? Is it bad? The body shape is really good, but the face, I just can't decide. I've even put it against him on like pausing the TV and put the figure up against him, and I can't decide whether it's good or bad, and I still can't decide. I'm not much help on this one.
Oh, do you know what? Right, for some reason I kind of thought this was molded on, but it's not. It's a cloth singlet, by the way, just for anyone listening. For some reason I forgot that. I thought it was molded on. So we've got black trunks underneath, I guess. This surprised me. I've never looked. Don't want to look. I mean, they've made an effort to have some sort of extra in terms of the singlet being cloth. So it's good effort, really.
Yeah.
I think body-wise, I quite like the body shape for this one. I think it was a bit more, or dumpy, let's just say that. But yeah, I think body-wise they've got it a lot better than they got Andre, but it still looks quite similar to the Andre one for me.
I'm going to kick this off for the ratings because I think it is better than on Tully and DDP. And I'm going 8.6.
I'm just really undecided about this figure. I can't decide what's good. I can't decide what's bad. I do like the figure, so I've given it a straight 8.
A straight 8. I went a bit higher than the Parabee, only because I couldn't really find massive faults with it, apart from maybe the body. I went for 8.9 on that one.
That's high.
Yeah, only because I couldn't really... we like simple figures, don't we? We like to talk about simple figures, and I think it is a simple figure. The T-shirt's just an extra accessory. Don't just flirt with it if you don't like it. So that's the gist of that, really.
Nice. Well, we'll move on to the final one of the series. It is the ringside exclusive. It's Macho King Randy Savage. I played a pivotal part in Adam getting hold of this figure.
I remember that. We discussed this, didn't we?
So can I start us off because I've got a bit of a sorrow story on this one. So I've accidentally sold the crown on eBay. And it's my only ever in 6 years of trading. It's my only ever neutral feedback that I got from it because the buyer said that it doesn't fit any of his figures. So it gave me neutral feedback for it. So I'm absolutely gutted. Number one, that I've sold the crown. Number two, that I got an idiot as a buyer.
That is double whammy, that. But absolute daft buyer, really, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the fitting, really. It fits on this figure. I guess he wanted to fit on his Macho King Randy Savage, which I actually heard does fit on the Hasbro. Because I remember selling them when they were quite abundant in the Hall of Fame series, and everyone was loving the fact that they could put it on the Macho King from the Hasbro series.
But yeah, good. It's a good figure all round, isn't it? They've made it very toyetic. Could do it with a crown, but yeah, really good.
You know, I think it's as a last figure to review, it's a bit of a main event. I can't really pick anything wrong with it at all. I was toying with giving it a 9.9 because I know there's one figure that I want to score a 10, but I can't see any reason why I can't score this one a straight 10.
Wow.
Adam, are you going to let your neutral feedback get in the way of you scoring?
Well, just before I start, what an awesome fit these sunglasses are. Compared to a lot of figures that come out nowadays that have those little gaps by the side of the ears, and the sunglasses still don't fit properly. These fit absolutely perfectly. So that's another big bonus point for this figure. What a figure this is. This is just beautiful figure. I've already said, even earlier in this episode, head-wise on Macho Man, I don't think they've ever nailed it. So I can't give it a 10. I do think on this one, the sunglasses really help. But I don't think they've ever nailed Macho Man to make it a 10. So I would be going on this one for a 9.4.
No, taking the glasses off, it looks more like one of the Bee Gees, isn't it?
It's hard to tell on the old little zoom camera, but
yeah,
pretty good. Look at him.
I've got the Megamaniacs Nacho, and the glasses for that fit really well on his head. If anything, you can't really get him off. But it's the same for these ones, and yeah, they fit really nicely compared to current day ones. Figure-wise, honestly, I can't really find a fault with it. I don't think I can give it a 10, only because kill me for this, Johnny, but I'd like more of a pop on one of the on the attire for me.
I just don't see something that doesn't pop. It's just, everything's accurate, but
I think it's the knee pads for me.
What do you mean?
I think if it was because they're purple knee pads, aren't they? I think if they're white, it would look better. It probably won't be accurate though. So, but I think it's just white on the boots.
No, it's got like the white under sort of pads that he had as well.
It's a 9.7 for me.
Did he have anything on his boots when he was Macho King? Was there no crown or anything?
I don't recall. I couldn't tell you for sure.
And I guess one bonus for this figure is that it is relatively like the Hasbro itself, isn't it? The iconic Hasbro that we all know and love. So I think that's a good little throwback that they had in there of the purple trunks.
Absolutely.
Has he got, what's his bum say? Has he got Macho King on the back of it? Or
yeah, there it is.
There it is. Hey, that's good. Still 9.7, but yeah, it's a beautiful figure.
It is. I couldn't fault it. I couldn't pick out any faults, so it had to be a 10.
Oh, lovely stuff.
Is that the first ever?
It's my first ever 10 I've given on this show, yes. You've given a 10 for Act for some reason, but yeah.
I couldn't remember whether it was nearly a 10 or a 10.
Yeah.
I think I gave Smash a 10, didn't I?
No. You haven't given it a 10, Jamie, I don't believe.
No, I'm pretty sure I've given it a 10.
For what? What do you think you give a 10 for?
I'll tell you what, Jamie, you can watch all the previous episodes and then add it in on this one.
Yeah.
Of course, Jamie has never given a 10.
Bam Bam?
Bam Bam was 9.9.
See, it's close.
Oh.
There's close point. It's 9.999 recurring, so it's close as it can be. Yeah, maybe I'll give it a 10 for the next one that we do another one. So lovely, Johnny. Any sign off for the retro review on Mattel Legends series? Any final words on that?
I just wonder if this is the best series of figures that we've ever seen in any line, really, because the quality we've seen, if we're going to compare them to, say, the retro ones that we've done before, or even like, Jacks or things like that, it's just night and day. And we can see that in the table and scores, in the average scores. A lot of these guys are above 8, whereas we had like maybe a handful above 8 on the retro review.
I mean, the effort is obviously there. The amount of effort they made with the sizing, with the body shape, with the accessories, it beats any line for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're gonna have a new toy line like Mattel did with WWE, this is a perfect way to launch it. I think it wasn't long after they partnered up before they launched this, so very good decision by them.
To be honest, I think this is the line that got me into collecting again. It really is. I remember seeing someone's like the Axe and Smash, and I think it was like Bulldog and Iron Sheik. I'm thinking, man, I miss having figures. and these are the ones that made me sort of collect again.
Well, it's nostalgia, isn't it? It's a hell of a drug.
It is a hell of a drug.
Hell of a drug. Right, boys, well, that's it for this episode. So, Adam, thank you for your time.
Cheers very much.
And Jono.
Adios, fellas.
Lovely stuff. We will see you guys very soon. Make sure you check out our YouTube, of course. Subscribe to there, and our audio, wherever you get your listenings in. Just subscribe to there as well. Leave us a review whilst you're there. See you in a bit. Bye.